Good morning, guys. Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone is blessed. It is the 14th of January, and this is your daily market outlook for today. As always, before we get into this video, I just want to make sure that you guys know that the content on this channel is for educational and informational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing shared in my videos should be considered financial, investment, or trading advice. Trading and investing involves risk, and you should always conduct your own research before making any financial decisions. Understand that any past performances discussed does not guarantee future results as well, and you are always responsible for your own financial decisions. So, with that being said, let's get straight into the charts, and you should be able to see. Let me double check. Should be able to see my screen. Yeah, okay, perfect. So yesterday, quite a lot of movement inside of the markets because, as mentioned, we had a lot of red folder news. CPI was yesterday, which is obviously a big news day. So yeah, yesterday we had heavy news in regards to that and some volume pushed into the markets. And we can obviously discuss that when we get into the charts. Going into today, we've got unemployment claims, which is at half two. So again, unemployment claims expect some sort of movement in the markets and obviously to prepare for that as well. Understand that if you're inside of a trade before obviously news, can you manage that trade and keep it intact so that it's not, going to go negatively if you can control it, if that makes sense. So with that being said, let's jump into the charts and let me just move this out of the way. And as you guys can currently see, we're in the dollar going to the daily time frame. Nothing has changed. You'll be able to notice that, of course, from this daily supply, this last buy candle that caused this movement down. We've had one, two, three, four. We're going into the fifth day inside of this candle. So, obviously what that tells me is that, supply is still there. Supply is, trying its best to take control. The institutions are obviously deciding what to do. Are we going to push the markets higher? We're going to push the markets lower. Sometimes when you see this, it's not really, people think it could be a good sign, which obviously can, but for me, I want to see a movement away like this. This is the same scenario as this last buy candle that caused this break of structure. When we come in, we had, obviously one day, and then from the second day afterwards, we melted away and broke that low. So, could we potentially now, be seeing something where the market is on the lower time frames creating, them highs, and then we're just going to get that higher push. So that is, first thing in my head looking at this. Yes, ideally, I would have liked to have seen the market give us that last, little push down into this daily demand, fill in the rest of this imbalance, and then get that movement, away. But if we don't get that, I'm fine with that as well. So let's see what goes on, obviously on Wednesday. So let's see what goes on for the rest of the week. But again, don't count out dollar, obviously selling off from here. Do not count out, but we just need to wait for more confirmation for that. And as you guys can currently see, what we can look at here is we can see that we're in this 4 hour supply, which was in the daily. We took out this high here, as mentioned. We took out that high. And obviously then we had this movement away. Now again, this is my 4 hour range from this low to this high. So we've not broke any significant 4 hour, range. So yes, daily is bearish, but for me, the dollar 4 hour is still bullish. We've still got this higher low and still got this higher high. So make sure that you guys understand that. Now, again, if you look at the correctiveness of this trend, there's not much that we can go off to look for, buys in regards to a 4 hour demand area. So, that obviously doesn't help. But what we can obviously understand is from a daily perspective, we're in this 4 hour supply. 1 hour has had a change of character, and we're inside of this 4 hour supply currently right now. Now, first thing that I'm looking at is I would like to see this significant low broke. The reason I'd like to see this significant low broke is because I think that we could potentially, if the market carries on, I think we could just react out of this demand area here. This It's a big, ugly 4 hour demand, but I think we could just carry on from this demand. We are filling the imbalancing currently right now, so it wouldn't surprise me if we get, the market do this. It would not surprise me at all. And that's something you got to be aware of. If you drop down the time frames, you can see that the 4 hour and the 1 hour is still the same, area. So just be aware of that. If you look at the lower time frames and you see that shift in momentum, that change of 50-minute change of trend, then of course you can potentially look for them longs in there. Now, if not, and you want to be aggressive, of course you can wait for the movement away from here. My advice would be, or for me, should I say, because I'm not a financial advisor, is I would be waiting for probably this. See if we can get a break. That would then confirm that we could then look for cells in this area. So, again, the way that I talk about the dollar, as you guys are probably listening, if you're new, I talk about the dollar as if I'm trading the dollar on its own. So as I mark up EU, GU, and all the other major pairs, I'll talk the exact same way about the dollar because it is, like, as always, and as you guys should know, it's the major pair. It's the main pair, sorry, the main currency in the markets that has the most liquid. So be aware of that. Now, looking at your USD, obviously same as the dollar, but obviously flipped where we're in this daily demand. The same scenario. We've got one, two, three, four, going into the fifth day in this daily demand candle. And of course, from a daily, you want to see the market move away from here and go and create a new higher high. Of course, we all want to see that happen, but what is the dollar doing? What is the dollar telling us? And then we got to capitalize on that. Now, it's a bit of a sticky one in regards to these scenarios because um, it's hard enough to obviously understand for a lot of people what's going on. But when you look at this scenario where we're obviously trapped between that supply and demand or whatnot, it can be a little bit more trickier. So, my advice would be pick a pair that you're more favorable with and just go with it. Like just 100% just go with that. But yeah, going back into this, what can we see? Well, everything's the same as what we just talked about with the dollar, but just the opposite. You can see that we've got the lower high and the lower low here. That's my 4 hour range from this area to here. So looking at this, we have a 4 hour supply that has been unmitigated with a small imbalance above. Now, pardon me. Ideally, what I would like to see happen is, of course, yes, I would like to see a movement up in here and then get that shift away, potentially to do that. And obviously try and catch a long sum here. But, and it's a big but, dollar, I'm just not 100% sure because of this demand area and the way that we're slowing down. That's why it's going to be a bit of a sitting on your hands game, if that makes sense. Pardon me. But if you look at this, 4 hour obviously is bearish. Have we, retraced in this retracement here to at least 50%? Let's have a look. Yeah, we've gone above the 50%. So, that could give us all the reason enough to, be selling away from here. Now, of course, 1 hour is, change trend, and we've come back into this 4 hour demand area here as well. So let me get rid of this actually. You can see we're in this 4 hour demand area. Now, of course, on the lower time frames, can you try and catch a long from here? Well, yes, of course. Market has shifted bullish in this area. If you can see, if you look at this, from here, market has started to obviously have that little shift. So yes, it looks like we could be obviously moving away from here, but just make sure that you guys are aware of that. Did we, if we mitigated the 1 hour or not? One second. Yeah, 1 hour mitigated perfectly. Let's mark that out. Yeah, so again, just be aware. But on the other scenario, depending on what the dollar's doing, if we do get some sort of movement away from this, I would potentially be looking to see if this area here, pardon me, on a 1 hour is somewhere that we can get a reaction from this 1 hour supply. Um, Yeah, just the imbalances, literally below that. So yeah, it's a little bit awkward for me personally at the moment looking at this, but hopefully you guys can see the way that I am looking at the charts. Now going into GBP USD, a little bit different, and the reason it's a little bit different, I think I explained this yesterday, is if you follow the trend on GU, you'll be able to notice that, let's just start from here. We have higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and then we have a lower low. This low here got broke, and obviously now we're tapping into this demand. Now, this can always be awkward for people, and including myself, because we're in this demand, which is unmitigated, but the structure's telling us that it's a change of trend. This is where structure's not everything. It's a massive thing, but it's not everything because, this could be a demand area where the institutions just want to, come back to fill in, to mitigate. And then, yes, we could see that happen. And you're going, oh my days, I was looking for sells because it's a sell, a daily supply candle, the market was in a downwards trend. This is why you've got to play both sides if possible. So understand if we just make this naked, you can see, took that low, filled in this daily demand candle here. Now, um, obviously, trend wise, we've mitigated this daily supply, which we talked about, and we have this movement away. So we are trapped between that, demand and that supply candles. Going into the four, what can we see? Well, pardon me. Going into the four, just mark that out. You can see at the moment that 4 hour for me is still the same as the daily where this is my high and this is my lower low. So that is still my 4 hour range. Now looking in that range, can I see any supplies? Well, yes, inside obviously this is a daily supply, but inside that daily we had this 4 hour supply that we talked about and this 4 hour supply that we talked about. Now yesterday, you can see market obviously moved up, pulled away, took the high, and then we had that momentum down. So we could now, come into here and carry this shift on. That is one thing that I'm keeping my eye on. Is that is 100% something that can happen because we mitigated this 4 hour supply and we've had this institutional candle and now we're making our way back into this supply. So it's going to be interesting to see what this supply does. Is it going to give us that momentum down or is it going to give us a little pullback into, let's say, this demand area for then longs? So awkward I get, but it's just this is trading. This is trading. This is why people paid a lot of money. It's because they're obviously skilled enough to understand what is the markets doing or what can the markets potentially do. Can you play both sides? So on and so on and so on. But as we talked about yesterday, we obviously had this, I put it as a four, but it's more of a 1 hour trend break. That's the internal structure. We broke above and we had this 1 hour demand candle, 4 hour demand candle, and also this 1 hour and 4 hour demand. Now, I said yesterday, are we going to get a move from here? Or we could get that move from here. As you guys can see currently, this is the demand candle which we're moving away from. So if you guys, are skilled enough or I don't know what the word is, maybe just not even necessarily skilled enough, but have fearless and have a good trading plan, you guys can come into this and even try and play the longs as well as the shorts. Um, that would be something that someone could do, of course, if you want to. Now, looking at where, if I was looking for longs, so let's say that we get a movement away from this 4 hour supply. If I was looking for longs, there's two scenarios that I'd wait for. This would be this wick here would be a let me move this here. This wick here would be, I'm guessing, a 1 hour demand, and then also there is the lower area here. So these are the two areas that I'd be keeping an eye on if we was to go long. If we go down to the two or the one, you can see this last pullback is the supply, sorry, the demand, which broke. So we could react out of either, one of these areas. We could get, let's say, we was going long and demand is taking control from here, or it could be pulling back into here, taking out these lows as liquidity, filling this imbalance in, and obviously just carrying on from this area. But again, just to make sure that you guys are aware and listening, don't rule out this 4 hour supply. It's an ugly, big, ugly area, but it is a valid area. If we drop down to the 30 or the 15, so I got an alert on here because this, is more of a 30-minute, 15-minute area which I'll keep an eye on because of the imbalance. So yeah, again, I wouldn't be surprised if the market does pull up into this, give us something, and sell off from here. Again, you're probably thinking, so we're buying and selling. No, we're just playing what we can see and what we're confident with and what the dollar is also telling us on the opposite side. So hopefully that makes sense. It should be the same scenario for, obviously NU and AU. You guys obviously know this by now. All major pairs should necessarily do the opposite to what the US dollar is doing. So, pardon me, looking at where we're currently at right now, similar to GU, where we're in this daily demand candle still, but we had that change of trend. And you can see that change of trend on the daily where higher high, higher low, higher high. This should have been a higher low to go and create a new higher high from this demand here. Failed to do that. What happened? Mitigated this demand, filled in the imbalance, created a new lower low. So now we're in a pullback into this daily supply. Can we see this happen? And I like this because if we do see the market continue away, we have a lot of imbalance that we can come and fill down here. So easy to understand. Looking at this scenario, let's just mark this out actually. So you can see this is my daily lower high. This is my daily lower low. Going into the 4, you guys should be able to see. You guys should be able to see, obviously, what I can see, which is I need to stop putting 4 on. I need to put 1. You guys should be able to see what I can see, which is this clear 4-hour supply candle here, which we are moving away from or have moved away from, but we are now trapped between supply and demand. So if this demand area, pardon me, is going to hold, then obviously that tells us why supply is obviously come down to here. And can we see this? That's one scenario that we can look out for, of course. If you're not confident enough, because look, for our internal structure is bearish. You can still see it's the same. The daily indices of 4s are the same. We are bearish. Could we now just be having a pullback and then going carrying this on? So just make sure you guys are aware. If you're unsure what you can do or what I, would do is wait for this to get broke. Wait for that to get broke. Then you've got, obviously daily, sorry, the 4, the 1, looking a little bit more like we should be looking for buys. So, you guys can obviously make sure that you guys are aware of that. Now, again, where would I be looking at potentially shorting this if this 4 hours going to stick? Same scenario. It's ugly, but from a 4 hour, this is a 4 hour supply. Now, again, can we go down to the lower time frames and see, something a little bit more clearer? You can obviously refine this if you wanted to the start of that imbalance here and the start of the body. That would be a good area that you guys can obviously look at and look into. Or you can go down to the 15-minute and you can look for where potential imbalances are, which you guys can see we have a little imbalance here. Let's make that red. Or we have the start of the imbalance, which is from here to where the candle currently is that needs filling. So basically what you guys need to know is, let's get this out. If we do get in here and we see that change of trend for shorts, then obviously you can look for that buying scenario. And if we do carry on longs, 4 hours not really telling anything for me. If you go down to the 2 or the 1, let's have a look at the 2. The 2 and the 1 are pretty similar, whereas let me just show you. There's 2 scenarios that well, one scenario is where we're currently reacting from right now, which is this 1 hour demand. Let's zoom in a little bit. This 1 hour demand here. We've also took the low, which is a good sign. We took liquidity. So that could be 1. Or if we do decide to go lower, it would be from around this 1 hour demand area here. Why? Because also we have the imbalance just above it. So hopefully you guys can see what I can see if, again, if the market carries on, Obviously I'd wait for this area to be broke again to look for a lower time frame into here and then make a decision. Or if the market decides to come lower, it'll be from this area. And then same scenario, can we wait in here to see if the market gives us a shift down or if it just carries on upwards? So let's see what that does for NU. AUDSD will be similar, I am guessing. If we look at a daily time frame, what can we see? It is uglier. I think we talked about this yesterday about how ugly it actually is. Um, we didn't have a break of this daily higher low like we did on NU. So if you look, we're still in this area here, which makes it obviously a little bit ugly because if you look at NU, we broke this low, which is the same as this low here. So where have we reacted from here? Why have we had this big candle? Can you guys notice that? If you look at this, we mitigated, even though it's a big ugly candle again, we mitigated this daily supply. So remember, NU and AU are quite similar. So I'm always trying to look at if what is NU doing, what is AU doing, can it follow suit? So we are trapped in between that supply and demand. If we look at the 4 hour, you can see if you look at the 4 hour, you can see that of course we had this bullishness away, but where did we react from? Well, can you guys see this whole candle here? What did we do here? This is a 4 hour supply. We took the high here, we took the high, which would be liquidity, reacted out this 4 hour supply, and then we moved the way down. So if AU was to carry on bearish, it would be from where it's currently at right now. This will be a 4 hour, again, ugly. Can we see anything on the 2 or the 1? 2 hours the same, 1 hour's the same. It's just an ugly candle. If it was to come up higher, you could obviously refine it to like this 30-minute or 15-minute area here. And we just look at the 15 and see if it's similar. Yeah, basically the same. So that would be, let's make that blue. Something different as a 15-minute area. So yeah, you guys can see, that could be a potential as well if the market was to carry on selling. So that would be for the shorts if we're looking for that. And then looking at longs, and if it was to carry on, because this is a daily range and 4 hour range, and we are bullish as well from that daily perspective. You can see we had this institutional candle here, which yes, mitigated this 4 hour supply, but it was away from this demand area. And then this candle, as you guys can see, come back, filled in this imbalance. And where did it tap into? It taps into this 4 hour demand area here. So just make this shorter. We are giving bullish signs. If you look at the one, if you look at the one right now, I would have liked to, and probably still would, see like this 1 hour demand area met with this imbalance here. So, I would have preferred, and we still can get that if the market, drops and then gives that movement away. Sorry, guys. Then obviously that can still happen as well. So, yeah, AU right now, because of this reaction here and it's in this demand, I would probably wait for this high to be broke if I was looking for longs to participate and then make a decision from this area. Keep an eye on to see if it's just going to be trending upwards or if it's going to give us that shift to say that the market could potentially be looking for shorts. So keep an eye on that if you guys want to. Same as always, USD CAD and USD CHF. I'm not interested in the slightest, just the way it's moving. Very trendy. I don't like the look of it. USD Japanese yen at this moment in time, I'm waiting for a significant pullback, and the significant pullback would be this daily demand, or it would be this demand area here. So either one of these demands, and that's when I will be obviously looking at USD Japanese yen. Bullish, fresh demand area. This is a valid pullback that caused another break of structure. So that is the two areas that, pardon me, that I'll be looking for. Some they are your majors, and that's what I'm going to cover today. I'm not going to go over any cross pairs because I've got a busy day ahead. So yeah, hopefully you guys got the value that you needed. As always, make sure that you're liking and commenting and subscribing to this channel if possible, or just staying in contact with me by obviously my social media. Anyone that does any fancies, if they're watching this and you enjoy it, you want to share it onto your social media, onto your stories, feel free to tag me at Coach by Chambers if possible, so I can reshare that as well and create some more momentum. So yeah, man. Other than that, I appreciate every single one of you guys as always. Have an amazing rest of your Wednesday. Take care and God bless.